Well, hello everyone, and isn't that a beautiful sunrise that we've gotten off to start with? It's a really exciting morning here in the Sabi Sands, and it's so good to have you with us. My name is Scott, and I'm teamed up with VM on camera today. We were on our way to head down towards the WildEarthTV Dam to start off the drive looking for Tingana and Shadow, which are two leopards that we actually got to see mating yesterday. It was an incredible sighting, and sorry for those of you who weren't able to join in for that action. Anyway, as I was saying, we were on our way down to the WildEarthTV Dam, and we stopped to do some pre-flight checks to test if all the microphones were working, and a herd of about 20 buffalo bulls came stampeding past us from behind. It was incredible to see. We were left in a cloud of dust, and we quickly did a U-turn and followed their dust trail in the hope that we'd find some lion chasing them. Sadly, we didn't find any lion, but we did find their tracks, and they were coming in this direction. It looks like a pride of lion. Who knows, it's possibly the Nkuhuma pride. So that's some really exciting stuff, and the fact that this is a live safari is really great because you're all in on this adventure now as we try and search for these lion that attempted to hunt some buffalo. Now, as we drive along, you can also send through questions to either myself or Brent, who's out on the other vehicle, and he's continuing the search for Shadow and Tingana, and he's teamed up with Brian on camera, and Tara's directing the show this afternoon in the final control, with Nikki lending her a hand. Kirsty's also in town from Joburg, so she's also in there. And what good prospects it is. I think Brent has actually already found some female leopard tracks. Anyway, as I was saying, you can send us questions or let us know any comments, how you're feeling, and to do that you would hashtag Safari Live on Twitter or send an email through to questions@WildEarthTV. I must say a very big thanks to Anne and Caroline, and I'm sure a lot more of you. Well, aren't we so fortunate? The lion haven't been around since I returned from leave, and it's great to see them again. The lioness from this pride was attacked and killed by one of the 5 Birmingham coalition members, who are a coalition of 5 male lions. And as sad as it is that one of the Nkuhuma pride did lose, oh, nice little yawn there, did lose a pride member, we are in a very, very fortunate place, because to be able to witness a pride takeover is something that doesn't happen very often. It only happens every few years, and sometimes even longer than that, and we are in the right place at the right time. We appear to be in the core of the takeover area where the Birmingham coalition are going to be competing further with the Matimba coalition, and in all likelihood there's going to be some serious battles between 5 younger males and 2 older males. So, like I said, it is sad news for the Nkuhuma pride that they did lose a member. But it is a natural process, and I've got some great news that I just heard over the radio from Brent, but I'm wondering if he wouldn't like to tell you what's going on in his vehicle while I loop ahead here. So that is an option, because it is quite thick, and I just heard an interesting update that I'm sure he may like to share with you. But we'll give it a minute or two. I don't think it'll be too hard for us to get around them one time. It's opened up quite nicely. So let's try and get you one more view of these lion before we send you across to Brent. Oh, they're looking hungry. So we're in with a little bit of luck here, because hungry lion tend to be more active than full-bellied lions, and there's nothing better than seeing lions on the move. And I think we're about to get a great little gap of them and view of them crossing this riverbed. So hold on a second here. A little gap that I thought was going to be sufficient for us to squeeze through wasn't. Just a quick little maneuver here. I've stuck them with a tricky angle, but take a quick look here. Now, I'm fairly certain this would be the Nkuhuma pride, but I haven't seen Junior yet. So who knows, maybe I'm wrong, maybe it's not the Nkuhuma lions. They can be difficult to tell apart. But there are two younger lioness within this pride, which I think are the two we're looking at now. And some of you may be surprised to see a lion grazing on grass, but just like your domestic cats and dogs, they will do this to help try and purge their system. And I guess if there's no buffalo to chew on, grass is the next easiest bet. And interestingly enough, it's difficult to see, but there are a few other pride members also doing the same thing. So they all have their stomachs in sync with what is required. Wow. Now, as I said a little bit earlier, this pride has lost one of its members, and John and Debbie have just asked, how many pride members are there? Is it 6 or 7? Well, it should technically be 7, considering they've just lost one member. But as I did say, there has been no sign of young Junior yet. So who knows where he may be. And I actually haven't seen all of the line together. I guess you've been with me from the start, and from the moment we spotted them, I haven't really managed to get any good views. But if Junior is not here, then it would be 6 lioness that we could expect to see. And that's one of the playful younger lioness, probably approaching 2 years of age now. Okay, I'm just going to need to get back onto the radio quickly to give the guys a further update on the movement of these lions. Now, let's see whether this little riverbed is going to be easy to pass through. Looks like it shouldn't be a problem. Hold tight, everyone. We're about to go up quite a tank. Squeeze tight with those lots of thorns. Oh! Okay, well, like I said a little bit earlier, why don't we send you across to Brent? He is having an exciting adventure on that other vehicle, and I'm sure you'd all like to know exactly what he's up to. So while we get ahead of these lions, enjoy meeting Brent if you haven't met him before, and enjoy the good news he's going to let you know about.
Good morning and welcome everyone. My name's Brent and I'm going to be your guide on this sunrise safari. I have Brian on camera with me today. We've heard what would be Tingana and shadow mating somewhere in this area, so we're just stopping and sitting quietly and listening, so hopefully we hear them again soon, and that means we can find them very quickly. What an exciting start to the morning. Scott with the Nkuhumas off the bat, and now we're just waiting here to see if we can hear that mating pair of leopard. There's the sun peeping up. So nothing yet. The last time we heard the mating was probably around 8-9 minutes ago. So in the next 5 or 6 minutes, we should be hearing the mate again. And it's amazing, the dawn chorus, we can have francolins and babblers. I'm quite confident they're somewhere within about a kilometre radius of where we are now. We followed their tracks all the way down Twin Dams Road, and then they crossed the Mawati drainage onto Nyala Road South, and then into the drainage and across Battalier Road. So they're here between here and Mumba Road, so hopefully they do mate again very shortly, and we'll be able to hear them and then find them. There we go, they just called further to the south of us, so we're on our way again. Okay, hold on guys, we are going to be going through some thick bush here. I just got to update the game drive, so I can possibly send someone up ahead of me who's not in the bush to see if they can get there and make sure we find these leopards. Station's audio of those. I think we're again, it sounds like we're now south of the Mumba Road. So they sounded like they were directly in front of me here. There's a little track that runs on the edge of the drainage line that we're going to go down and around rather than crashing through this thick stuff. It also means we possibly going to be able to move a little bit faster. Let's hope they're not moving too much while they're mating. Watch out, hey, Brian! Alright. They have moved into one of the thicker blocks on Djuma, but we will definitely try get in there. So guys, we are live tracking mating leopards. Hopefully we will come upon them quite shortly. I don't think they were very far from us when we heard them. So Brian, keep your eyes peeled. Guys, keep checking around if you see any movement. Okay, we're gonna just come up into this nice open clearing here and have a quick look to see if we can see them. If we can't, we're going to go across to Scotty, who's still with those Nkuhuma lions. But we're just going to check up here. I think they were around here, but if they are on the move, they could have moved quite a bit. So we'll just check this open area very quickly. There we go. That's quite far away, but it's down towards the drainage line. There's a nyala barking. So, and leopards mating again. So we know exactly where they are now. It is. I'm going to have to go back to drop down through this deep drainage line. So in the meantime, I'm going to cross back to Scotty, and hopefully he'll be back with us with the mating pair of leopard.
Welcome back, everyone, and I'm very jealous that I'm not all with you guys on Brent's vehicle in the search for the mating leopards, but I think it's going to be a good option for us to all let Brent concentrate now on the task at hand. There'll be a lot going through his mind, and let him rather find those animals and call you back to him when he gets lucky. So interestingly enough, we've repositioned the vehicle, and there are only 5 of the Nkuhuma pride that we can see. And I'm told Natasha and Rita are ecstatic and very happy to see the Nkuhuma Pride again. I'm not sure when last they were seen, actually, because I have spent 2 weeks on leave. And since I've been back, I've yet to see them. Wouldn't it be interesting to know where Junior and one of the other lioness is? Because those are the 2 members of this pride that are missing. I think it's one of the youngest lioness, together with Junior, and they keep looking back to the east, which is the direction they came in, so I'm not sure what they can hear there. Possibly those other 2 members of their pride. And with the chaos that's been going on with the Birmingham Coalition coming through and stamping their authority on this area, I hope that the other 2 members of this pride have not become a casualty of the Birmingham Coalition's warpath. Now, I haven't heard any updates on the Birmingham Coalition yet. They were last up in the north in Buffelshoek. So it'll be interesting to see when they do get found, if there is a chance that they were together. Well, thanks very much to Maddie in Scotland, because Maddie says that the Nkuhuma Pride were seen on a neighbouring property close to us quite recently, and the story goes that Junior was continuing his antics of trying to mate with one of the lioness in this pride, and actually the lioness, the pride members, ran him off. Now, whether one of the Matimba males was there to chase him away, I'm not sure. But thank you very, very much for that update, Maddie. All the way in Scotland. And it hasn't only been Maddie that sent us through some information on the Nkuhuma Pride, but also John, who's in California, and John says that that Junior has also not been seen recently with the pride. Who knows, maybe Junior's realized that this Birmingham Coalition, who are now coming into the area, are not worth being around, especially for him. They will be more ferocious towards males, because they are more direct competition, obviously. It's quite interesting that they killed the lioness, because that would be a future mate for them, potentially. So it doesn't really make complete sense for them to kill them. But I guess what we must understand is that the lioness within this pride may have been trying to actually defend Junior. And that would have left the Birmingham Coalitions no choice but to eliminate that barrier between them and Junior. Okay, well, apologies for the small tech issues during my opening, and some of you, Georgie and Christy, or Georgianne and Christy rather, are wanting to know who's on camera and what's going on out here, who's in the control room. It's VM on camera with myself, and Brent is out with Brian on the other vehicle, and Tara is directing the show this morning with Nikki and Kirsty lending her a hand. There's an incredible amount of things going on in that control room, and it's certainly a job that I do not envy. You have to be able to multitask, because like I said, there's so many different things going on, and that's why it's great that there's not only one director but another 2 helping to feed her all the necessary information coming through on the emails and the tweets, that way allowing us to interact. I'm guessing this pride may have moved quite some distance in the course of the night, and that's why they're all fast asleep now. I'm not convinced that they were actually found yesterday. Oh no, they were found somewhere on Torchwood, which is to the east of us, but as a rough guess, they probably moved about 3 or 4 miles, and who knows how many attempts they had at hunting last night, but possibly quite a few. We know for a fact that they were attempting to hunt buffalo just before we found them, and that's actually what allowed us to find these lion. A herd of about 20 buffalo bulls came stampeding past us, and we followed their dust cloud back into this general area, and after a bit of snooping around we managed to get lucky and find them. So the buffalo escaped the lion this morning, but the grass is not being so lucky, and it appears that all of them are quite intent on trying to purge their systems. I just need to go onto the radio quickly to get a hold of Aubrey. He was expressing interest to come here, but then I think he realized that it's going to be very tricky for him to get into the sighting, so he's moved out, and I just want to acknowledge his message that he sent through to me earlier. Aubrey, I copied your message earlier. Sorry, it is tricky to get in here in the middle of this block, but I'll keep you updated if they get mobile again. Now, Tara's just mentioned to me that the lioness at VM has just been filming appears to be covered in quite a few little scratches and scars. And I haven't taken a very close look yet. Look at how cute this is. It's incredible how gentle and caring these animals can be. And on the flip side, how aggressive and ferocious they can be. And I touched on it earlier, that we can expect to see a lot more violence between the lions in this area, and it's very, very exciting prospects, because it's not very often that a pride takeover or a male coalition takeover occurs. Usually every 4 or 5 years you would get something like we're experiencing now, because that's the general average reign of a coalition of male lions from when they attain dominance to when they start losing dominances. Anywhere from 5 to 7 years, depending on the area. It could be a lot less than that, and potentially a little bit more. And that could be a reason why we are seeing the little scratches and cuts on the lioness from their last altercation with the Birmingham Coalition, where one of their members was actually killed. But having a look through my binoculars, I can't see any fresh scratches or cuts. I don't think, although I've just seen another lioness, the one on the far left. I think we're too far away to see, but I've noticed just a little scratch above her left eye that is quite fresh. So who knows, maybe there was an altercation of sorts. Brent is still trying his best to pinpoint where these leopards are. He's in an incredibly tricky area to find them, because there's a lot of thick vegetation and areas which are inaccessible or very difficult to move through with the vehicle. But I can assure you that he is not going to give up, and I'm feeling confident that he's going to get lucky. And it's certainly good that we're allowing him to really focus and concentrate all his attention on trying to find these mating leopard. I'm sure a lot of you weren't lucky enough to see them yesterday on the sunset safari, and it's a wonderful, wonderful spectacle to behold. Okay, well, I'm told that a lot of you are interested to know if the amber-eyed female is here, and I think Janet was one of the viewers expressing a lot of interest on that matter. And yes, I'm fairly sure I did see the amber-eyed female earlier. I'm not sure which one it is now. Vim, do you remember seeing her?
This morning?
Yeah.
Didn't notice.
Okay, Vim was too busy working the camera and hasn't noticed her, but a little bit earlier on when we were in a different position, it alerted me or helped confirm to me that it is most likely the Nkuhuma pride because of that distinctively ambered eye female. And the reason why I wasn't 100% sure is that 2 members of the pride are not here. One lioness and young Junior, and thanks to some updates from Maddie and John, we've been told that Junior has not been present with the pride when they've been seen on surrounding lodges in the last week or so. And it is something that we have discussed in depth. He has almost overstayed his welcome within the pride, and it is time for him to move on. So I'm guessing we will see him again, but who knows, maybe we won't. Wouldn't that be sad? But it certainly is a reality. And not only his age determining the fact that he does need to start moving off, I think the fact that the Birmingham Coalition has moved in has increased his motives for leaving. Well, while we're on the topic of the Birmingham takeover, it'll be a good opportunity to discuss and answer some questions that you've sent through, one of which is, why has the Birmingham Coalition not fed on the lioness that was killed by the Birmingham Coalition, as well as the cub? So the 2 lions, or actually the 2 little cubs, why have they not been fed on? And I think that's from Carrie. That question came through from Carrie. And it's a good question, Carrie. You'll actually find that in most textbooks, or maybe the slightly older textbooks, it will tell you that when predators kill other predators, they are doing it solely for competition, and that they will not feed on the other predator that they have killed. Now that is not always the case, and I've seen on countless occasions lions feeding on other lions, lions feeding on leopards that they've killed. I've seen leopards feeding on cheetah that they've killed. I've also seen a leopard eat a jackal. So you do get a lot of consumption of kills made predator on predator, but it's not necessarily always the case. And why that the Birmingham Coalition didn't do it, you'd have to ask them. There's no way that we'd be able to work out why sometimes they do and others they don't, when I have seen in certain occasions even full-bellied lions or leopards feeding on other predators. So it can't necessarily be attributed to them being very hungry and desperate and therefore feeding on another predator. But it is a good question, and wouldn't it be nice to know exactly what causes them to sometimes actually feed on their own kind? Oh, well, I must apologize. I didn't get myself fully informed on the topic. And I'm told that actually one of the two little Styx cubs that were killed by the Birminghams was actually consumed, and one wasn't. It was just carried around. So again, it just adds more mystery to this puzzle. And hard to say why exactly they would feed on one cub and not the other. Interestingly enough, I've also actually seen a female leopard consume one of her own cubs that had been killed by a male leopard. It was a terrible sight, and it happened very close to our staff village, and there was just the head of this tiny 3-month-old cub left lying on the ground, staring up into space, which is not a pretty memory, but still interesting information to share with all of you while we're on the topic of predators eating other predators. There's a few Franklin alarm calling down in the riverbed below us, and two of the line, the two that you're watching, did lift up their heads and prick their ears in that direction to see what's going on, but they seem to have calmed down now, so not sure what it could be. Maybe, if we're lucky, it's the missing lioness and Junior making their way back. If not both of them, maybe just one of them. What could it be? Now more lioness are pricking up their heads. Well, while we wait for these lions to work out what's going on, I'd just like to recap a little bit about what happened on the sunset safari yesterday. I did touch on it earlier, but we were incredibly spoilt and got to see Tingana and Shadow mating. And it was the first time since November that we've actually managed to see them mating, or share with you leopards mating, since we started filming. So really exciting stuff. Speaking of exciting stuff, I think we should send you back to Brent and see how his leopard hunt is coming along, and we will see you all a little bit later.
Welcome back, guys. We've managed to catch up with Shadow and Tingana. Unfortunately, they've given us quite the runaround this morning, but they're now right here in front of us, and unfortunately very close to our southern boundary. So we are going to stay with them as long as we can. I just need to let Aubrey know where they are quickly. Aubrey, they are starting to move towards the Gari man. We have Tingana in front of us and Shadow's just to the right. Unfortunately, that road you see ahead of us is the southern boundary. So unfortunately, guys, it looks like they are going to cross right here. Probably they're crossing into Nkuhuma. Ooh, it looks like they're going to give us one final little show before they disappear. It's amazing how intense these leopard matings are, and how frequent they are. Unfortunately, they are moving across our southern boundary, but we have fortunately managed to catch them before they disappeared. We will try to stay with them as long as possible. Hopefully they'll walk parallel to the road for a while. But let's see if we can get a gap through there. It looks like there's a long gap coming up, so I'm just going to go up ahead quickly. Try and find Brian a window. She's disappearing there. Can't see where he is at the moment, so I think he is further to the south. Still see her, Brian?
No, not currently. Oh, there she is there.
You got it? Yeah. Oh, we can just make her out through the bushes. She is unfortunately heading further to the south. Just make out the movement there. And there's Shadow. I think Tingana is even further to the south. Now she's walking parallel to him at the moment. And female leopards will cover incredible distances while they're mating, and will follow the males sort of on their patrols and come way out of territory for mating. Yeah, there she is.
There's Tingana.
And Brian has spotted Tingana. And just make out those rosettes through the thorns there. How's it, Robs? Sorry, I'm for. Yeah, sure. Morning. The orbs was just a little bit too late before they crossed out of Djuma. And you can just see Tingana there. They might even duck back in, but probably not this morning, maybe this afternoon. Or they might even go head back towards Arathusa. And Tingana is on one of his patrols and Shadow is following him. So it is quite interesting that we have this mating going on at the moment, especially since Shadow does have Sindile, who's just over a year old, and behind us you'll see James and Andrew disappearing, who are out on tracking team, been helping us follow that leopard, those leopards. So it is quite interesting that she is mating already when Sindile is just over a year old now. It could be possible that because this is the first time she's got a cub to this age, that she's not quite sure what to do. But the estrus cycles she cannot help. She has no control over those. Those are a completely natural thing, like ovulation in people. So it will naturally happen, and she will react to that hormone change in her body. And Sharon and Lynn are wondering, they thought female leopards don't mate until their cubs have reached independence. Not so they don't, it's not usual. Maybe this is why Shadow's had such bad success raising cubs. It could be because her estrus cycle doesn't quite fit in with her cub rearing cycle. It's very difficult to actually know. But what will happen to Sindile now is a very, very interesting question. So Sindile is just over a year old. He is making kills for himself at the moment. He's catching lots of little francolins and dwarf mongoose and other things. And so now it's not unheard of for a leopard to become independent at the age of a year. It is very unusual. And generally the leopards that become independent at that age are females. With the mating happening now, I would say, unfortunately, Sindile's sort of chances of survival have dropped somewhat. Not completely. It's by no means a no-hope situation. So it'll be quite interesting to watch what happens. I think once she has finished mating, she'll probably still spend time with Sindile and take him to kills, etc. But if she is impregnated, and that's to say if, she might not get pregnant from this mating, then she would probably chase Sindile away. So he probably has another 3 or 4 months, 3 months with his mother, which would put him about a year and 4 months, which is very young for a male leopard to be out on their own. But it's not unheard of. I think the youngest male leopard ever heard of being independent was about a year and 6 months. But I know of, it's normally females. So it's going to be very interesting to watch what happens. So I think what we're going to do now is probably move along and go look for Sindile to see what's happening here. We've got Sean, who's arriving now, and Cedric, sorry, and he's going to be heading off to have a look off for those mating leopards that have crossed there. So I'm just letting Cedric know which way they were going. So we're going to go have a look for Sindile now, and I'm going to get hold of James on the radio, who was the last person with Sindile last night. And Lisa and Laura are wondering how far Sindile is from here, and I would say probably not more than 2 kilometers, but the sound of that mating and that sort of aggression, I think he would try stay quite far away from it. Probably one of the most interesting sightings I've ever seen with leopards happened to be with mating, and it's the most leopards I've ever seen in one place. There was a male leopard called the Campine male down a little bit south of here, and he was mating. I'm just trying to remember exactly now. So there was 6 leopards that I saw in one sighting. There were 4 different females all trying to mate with him at the same time, which is really, really unusual and very unheard of. And him, and then one young male, probably a little bit older than Sindile. Who had followed his mother into the situation and was just sitting in the fork of a tree panicking, and one female would mate with him, then the females would fight over who was going to mate next, and that poor male looked very harassed, and he just kept trying to get away from all these ladies, but they just kept following him and following him. But that was probably one of the most amazing leopard sightings I've ever seen. Just hang on, I'm going to jump on the radio quickly, get hold of James so I can find out the exact last position of Sindile. James. James. He might be off the vehicle tracking at the moment, so that's why he might not be answering his radio. But I have a general idea where Sindile was, so we're going to go have a look there right now. James, you're braking very badly. Could you just give me the exact last position of Sindile from yesterday's Sunset Safari? Sorry guys, just listening to the radio. So information is key, as well as obviously tracking and all that comes in very much so, but having really good information about where the animals last were is also critical. It helps with finding animals much faster, so we don't spend a lot of time zigging and zagging. James, I'm not copying you very clearly. There's another vehicle coming down the road. I just have to stop for a quick morning meeting and say hello. It's Ryan. How's it, bugger?
How you, bugger?
Nice to see you.
And you, man.
How are you off after those Ingles?
They've already crossed into Little Gary.
Yeah.
But apparently there's another one. Dibs who's just crossed over here, but I see James and then I'm busy lancering there.
Okay, awesome.
And then they're on Aonda. I don't know if you guys heard about that Nkuhuma, Madonna and Mafazi.
No, I didn't.
Not from that.
Oh, awesome. The others are on Vuyatela on quarantine.
Okay, you can hear they're looking for each other. So if you go to the rugby field, you'll probably see them.
Perfect. When's the next touch game?
Dude, soon.
Okay.
Soon.
Cheers, guys. Enjoy. You're in very good hands. Oh, that's really fascinating news. So it sounds like James is already on Sindile's tracks there. But I got some really fascinating news and it's going to be quite interesting behavior to watch. So we're going to head there. So we're going to leave leopards for the moment. So there's two Nkuhumas that are separated from the others that are on Arathusa, on our touch rugby field. And they are calling and trying to find the rest of the pride. So I think it might be quite nice to see that, see them trying to contact call, try to find each other, and then possibly, hopefully, we can even see a reuniting of the pride. So I'm just going to get hold of Scott just to let him know about that, so he's also in the loop. Scott. Scott, just interesting information from Arathusa. There's two members of the Nkuhuma Pride lying up on Knobthorn Pan doing contact calls. So I'm going to try and make my way towards that area, and then James is tracking here around Gari Main Junction. So it sounds like one female and a junior are missing from the rest of the pride, and that's probably who's on Knobthorn Pan. Let's have a quick chat with James and Andrew here. Good morning, Commander Bond.
Hello.
Hello, thank you for your help with the leopards,
Well,
gentlemen.
you know, one does what one can. He was on that termite mound there yesterday evening, and he likes that termite mound. I've checked the tracks along here. He has not come across. I haven't seen them going along here, but there has been an inordinate amount of traffic. Some squirrels alarm calling there, but no tracks along here. So I think we'll just walk into the block there and see what we can find.
Cool, thanks very much.
Okay.
So we're going to head across to Arathusa. There's a separate part of the Nkuhuma Pride that's been separated on that side, and they're apparently calling at each other. So hopefully we can see a nice reuniting of the pride.
Yes, that would be nice.
Yes.
Right. We'll
Good
do
luck.
our best. Thank you. As you were. Enjoy, everybody. Hello, Brian.
Andrew, stop looking so awkward on camera. Sorry.
Hello, everybody.
The cameraman definitely preferred to be behind the camera than in front of the camera. And I'm sure Brian can testament to that.
I love the camera. On handle.
But Brian is an exception to the rule. Really wonderful, busy morning, lots of cats around. So hopefully James and Andrew have some success following young Sindile, and we're going to head towards those lions at Nkuhuma Pan. So we're crossing out of Djuma at the moment, which means I have to change radios. So I'll change from our northern channel, which covers Djuma and Buffels Hook and those and Torchwood, and cross across to the Arathusa channel, just to make sure we're exactly where those lions are in case they've moved, and so we can get in there and just get a full update for the Arathusa property. Oh yeah, that's why I can't hear anything. Okay, earpiece is back in. Accidentally managed to pull it out there for a second. I'm just going to get hold of the Arathusa guys to see what's happening on that side. Good morning, mobile stations, Brent from WildEarth. Could I have an update on the Ngala at Nkuhuma? Standing by. Copy, thanks. I'd like to take standby 1. I'm currently on Zebra Drive junction with Triple M. Copy, thanks. Just to let you guys know, the rest of the family are on Vuyatela around quarantine periods. Okay, so there's currently 3 vehicles in there, so we're going to just check carefully here, because this is really part of Sindile's favorite spots. So make sure he hasn't meandered through the block from where we saw James and Andrew and popped out around here. So what a fantastic morning so far. Lots of cats around. Beautiful weather. A little bit of cloud building up in the east, but nothing too serious. So we spent some time with some amazing mating leopards this morning. Unfortunately, for some reason, there seems to be a gremlin in my radio, but I can get the gist. So I apologize if I don't get your name. I can just get the gist of the question that's coming through. I think it's from Guy, and I'd like to know, why do mating leopards cover such ground? Well, generally, Guy, what happens is the male and generally what happens is the male is out on patrol, and he's heading out marking his territory boundaries and doing what male leopards do, trying to maybe sometimes increase and defend the boundaries, which we've seen a bit of with the Anderson male, Tingana and Mvula. And the females will move out of territory and follow the males on these sort of territorial marches to keep mating with them, because the males won't hang around when the female wants to mate. She actually has to follow them. So that is why they cover such distance. Male leopards can cover vast distances and do so regularly if they do not have a static kill. And this is what happens. The female will follow the males on their patrols. So that's the reason they do cover such vast distances. Males just going on in his normal patrols, and normally female leopards are far more sort of sedimentary. They stay in a specific territory when they're not in estrus, and when they're out of estrus, I've seen female leopards move 3 to 4 territories over to mate with a male leopard. And we've seen that here, although traditionally where we've seen Shadow at the moment was in her mother's territory where she's been mating with Tingana. But we remember quite a few months ago, Scott and myself had that incredible sighting after we had a bit of a blip on a vehicle, and we both went out and hosted a show, and we had then Mvula mating with the Kwatile female, who I've only seen once very briefly since, and she lives well to the south and barely even comes into Arathusa. So she would have crossed Shadow's territory and Karula's territory to mate with Mvula then. So we have seen it before, and females will cover vast distances away from their natal or their territories to mate with the males. So while we're going to wait here, we're just going to slowly move up the road and wait for our chance to jump in to go see the junior and one of the Nkuhuma lionesses who's been separated from the rest of the pride. We're going to cross back to Scotty, who's with the Nkuhumas, and hopefully when you come back to us, we'll be with the rest of the Nkuhumas. So have a great time with Scotty.
Welcome back, everyone, and very, very well done to Brent and Brian, who successfully located that mating pair of leopards just in time for you guys to get to see at least one copulation. And so happy that happened. And again, very well done to Brent. Well, the good news is that all of the presenters got to see their mating. James managed to get his turn last night after I moved out of the sighting, and now Brent's had his opportunity. So very happy that all the presenters here on the ground. Obviously Jamie's on leave, so she doesn't really count in this equation for now, but really happy that everyone got to see it, because it's a unique sighting that doesn't happen very often. Now, on the topic of mating leopards, got a question through from Jane in Durban, and she's interested to know, why do both lions and leopards have to mate for so many days and so many copulations? So, for those of you who don't know, it's 3 to 5 days on average that both leopards and lions will mate for, and roughly every 20 minutes there are slight peaks in intensity and slight troughs in intensity, depending on the weather and the temperature, and obviously the stamina of both the leopards, or the lions, I guess. And the reason for that is that they need to induce ovulation, and the mating process of cats helps greatly to induce the ovulation. And it's not only the fact that they mate for 3 to 5 days, but there's another component in that equation that needs to be spoken about, and that is the fact that the male of both lion and leopard has got a barbed penis, and that barbed penis also helps to induce the ovulation, but it requires very many copulations, and that is also what causes the intensity and aggression between the male and the female when they are mating. It's painful for both of them, and that is what causes them to growl and swat one another and create some incredible viewing. I saw some of the highlights of James, from James's viewing of the leopards last night, and one of the copulations was really intense, and there was a big cloud of dust that settled after they finished mating. A really beautiful scene, so worth taking a look at the highlights reel. Anyway, as you can see, the Nkuhuma pride just behind me here are fast asleep, but such interesting prospects and exciting prospects that Brent's rushing over to go and view Junior and the other lioness that are missing from this pride. And who knows, even though it's not looking likely at the moment, it certainly is possible that they could even reunite this morning. Failing that, hopefully we'll be in the right place at the right time this afternoon. Take a closer look here. The lioness are all fast asleep. And just got another question through on the topic of leopards and lions mating, and that's from Kathleen. She's interested to know whether or not leopards will advertise that they're coming into season just like a lioness, or I may have got that confused. Will lioness advertise just like leopards do? And yes, basically a lot of it will be through scent. Male lions and male leopards will be able to smell when females are coming into season from the scent marks left on the various bushes and trees. So there'll be a kind of window period where male lion and leopard will start getting wind of the fact that there's a female coming into season, and then they'll lurk around and follow those scent trails as their instinct will urge them to mate. But in some cases, because we are in big expansive wilderness areas, it will require a lioness or a leopardess to potentially even vocalize and try and call males if they haven't for some reason got wind of the fact that they are coming into season. So I've just heard somebody trying to contact me on the radio asking to get into the sighting, so I just need to chat to them very quickly. Station looking for the Nkuhumas, go ahead. From they haven't moved. We are closest to Quarantine, but we're on the western side of that small drainage that runs west of Quarantine. So if you feel confident you can cross that, come from the northwestern side of Quarantine. If you don't think you can cross that drainage, come midway down Zoe's and follow the western bank of the drainage. Negative. We on the northern side of the clearings, northwestern side of the clearings, and west thereof. Apologies for that. We are in a bit of a tricky spot here. And this morning has been absolutely incredible, and it's only getting better. I think Brent's possibly got some more exciting news for all of you. So don't go anywhere. Change your meetings and appointments. Have another cup of coffee if you're feeling tired, if you're in a late time zone, because this morning is only just gonna get better. And I'm sure it won't be long before you find out exactly what I'm talking about, but I'll let that stew with you for a few moments. Well, I believe Brent has tidied his hair and is now ready to receive you. So over to Brent, enjoy, and we might bump into you in a short while.
Welcome back, everyone, and we've caught up with Junior and one of the Nkuhuma lionesses as they've crossed from Arathusa back into Djuma. So definitely from their behavior so far, well, not so much Junior's, but the lioness, they are looking for the rest of the pride. And as two leopards crossed out, we got two lions in return that crossed in. So a really good morning so far. and I'm hoping we're going to hear some contact calling. See how Junior's testing the air there, trying to listen, or listening and smelling for possibly the other members of the pride. So Scotty's sitting with the rest of the pride about as the crow flies, probably 2.5 kilometers from here, and Angie in Ohio was wondering that, and hopefully they will reunite on this sunrise safari. I'm just going to move forward ahead a little bit so we can see the lioness as well. Here we have Junior, and just off behind him is the lioness. So they'll quite often walk, lie down, listen, might call a little bit and then start moving again. Warming up very quickly, so excuse me for a second, I'm just going to take my jacket off. There we go. So we're back with you now. A little bit cooler now that the warm fleecy jacket is gone. You can see how Junior's getting a little bit of black in the top of his mane. So interesting where these lions are lying at the moment. Just beyond them there's a thicket, and that is where Brian and I, not that long ago, walked into Shadow and Sindila on a duiker kill, and I think it was Brian's first time walking into Leopard on foot, so it's been quite a popular little spot for Brian and myself over the last month or so. Just move again a little bit so you can have a proper look at them. Oh, look at that. Look in this little bush here. And there's an old bird's nest. There we go. Difficult to say what it is at that age. Hasn't been used in a while. There we go, Lioness is on the move again, and she'll start the moving and then hopefully Junior will follow. Come on, Mr. Lazy Bones. So, Junior, like all young male lions, or all male lions, will spend a lot of his time resting. And quite often you always find young males at this age, and adult males, when a pride is moving, they'll always sort of hang back, lag at the back, sort of take the longest to catch up. So, with the Birmingham boys around at the moment, we're probably going to find a lot of fragmented pride structures happening. If they have been chased and we might not know about it, you will have 2s and 3s and sometimes 1s, and they can get quite far away. They do generally make their way back towards each other, but sometimes it can take weeks or days for them to join. The other time the prides get split sometimes is during hunting, but more often than not it is, I think in this case, will be because the Birmingham boys are around. So I think we're going to go catch up with the female who's up ahead, and I'm sure Junior will follow suit. Last one I saw them was around here. So I'm just going to let James know, because they are tracking in this area, that they might bump into some lions, which would be not quite what they were looking for. James, here she is. I'm quite sure Junior is going to come loping along shortly. Yep. So as we look at this lioness, she's definitely an adult, in which Arcadia and Charlene were wondering, and is this possibly, if it is an adult, Junior's mother? Well, it's very difficult for me to say whether it's his mother or it's not. It's definitely one of the adult females from the pride, and she is heading in the right direction at the moment towards the rest of the pride. I think I can hear footsteps. I thought I heard Junior's footsteps coming through, but I can't see through the thick bush just yet. And where's she off to? She's still moving. She stopped directly behind us. So I thought I heard movement coming from just over there where we left Junior lying up. I can just see her through the back of the vehicle. We're not going to move. She stopped behind the car, so we're just going to stay here. We don't want to disturb her at all. And she's on the move again now. And I still can't see if Junior is coming through. I'm sure he will follow, and I was really hoping we might get a little bit of calling. I think they're going to keep to really low contact calls that sort of I think they're going to try avoid roaring at the moment with the Birmingham boys. They would not want to attract any attention to themselves. She's still moving. Nope, stopped again. But hopefully we will see a really nice reuniting of the Nkuhuma pride a little bit later. It might happen on the sunset safari. They might not get that far during the day as it heats up. And we're just going to move around.
Yeah, she's walking off.
So apparently this isn't the first time that Junior has been separated from the rest of the pride. Tina from Houston says, according to her notes, on March 11th, Junior and another lioness, I think a young lioness, was separated from the pride for a few days, but they did eventually join up with them again. The reason I'm staying ahead with the female and not with Junior is she's more likely to move and go through to the rest of the pride. Junior will just generally follow, and as I said, I don't think they're calling. Normally they would roar and find each other that way, but because of the Birmingham boys being around, oh, I can see the spiderweb, just hang on a second, there we go. Because of the Birmingham boys being around, they're going to stay as quiet as possible and try not to draw any attention to themselves. They've already lost one lioness to those marauding males, and strangely enough, in time to come, you'll probably find that those marauding males will become the dominant coalition over the Nkuhuma pride, but for now they will be trying to avoid them at all costs. Oh, right. Still not following.
Here he comes.
Is he on his way now? Here he comes, Mr. Junior. See that they are quite hungry. I mean, not by any means in starvation mode yet, but they could definitely do with a decent meal. And they've probably covered quite a big distance. I'm not sure, and I haven't seen the Nkuhuma pride for a while, and I'm not sure how long they've been separated for. So here we can see that very flat cat, Junior, in the background, and Sharon. We're wondering, how old is Junior now? Sharon, I'm quite sure you guys will have a much better idea than me, but as far as I know, he's about 3.5 at the moment. And Josh was wondering, we just had a quick look at that little black tuft on the top of Junior's mane, and Josh, I'm sure you were wondering, due to the fact that Birmingham boys seem to have quite blonde manes, and he was wondering why we don't see more black maned male lions in this area. Is it a genetic trait, or is it just completely random? It's definitely a genetic trait, Josh, so it is passed down from the males that might have fathered him. Oh, lioness is on the move again. Following a nice prominent game path. Oh, ones. Let's let me just see if we can get a gap through there. There we go. Pretty boy. In the Sphinx pose. But let's keep up with the ladder. It goes up ahead. Walk straight down this jam path. It's a little bit thick in there, so I'm going to try go around.